What is going on, everybody? Johnny TCG back with another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Wano Perona deck list. For this list, you have the kind of standard Perona staples like Borsalino, Gecko Moria, Ryuma, and even Sabo. But you incorporate a lot of Wano characters because the point of this deck is to just draw. We're going to run two searchers, Otama and Momonosuke. Early game, you're going to be drawing a lot of cards, or at least the goal is. Then with Hiyori, you can play her out and then place her into your trash and play one of your 5-cost or less Land of Wano characters into play, and then you draw a card as well. This card you're going to want to combo with Yamasan, in English it's Mountain God, and then Ryuma as well. Now, a little bit of a spoiler, I am questioning the importance of Yamasan, so this is something that you may just be able to trim. I saw people playing the green Yamato, double attack and banish. I think that is a really interesting play, and I definitely think it should be investigated. So keep that in the back of your mind when you're making your deck list. Maybe this is a good card to tech in. I think especially in exchange for the Yamasan, as I don't see myself getting value out of it too often. Top end, the new cards as opposed to an EBO1 build is Stussy. You may place one of your characters into the trash, KO up to one of your opponent's characters. 9 cost, this is absolutely great. In our deck, specifically, we're going to be playing a lot of searchers, so it isn't uncommon for an Otama to stay on the field and be good targets to be KO'd with Stussy. I only run one of this card right now, but I do think it has a good place in this deck. Then there's also the 8-cost Secret Rare Sabo from OP07. On play, you may trash one card from your hand, KO up to one of your opponent's cost 5 or less characters, and up to one of your opponent's cost 3 or less characters. So this can really shift the momentum, especially with Perona's ability, where you can actually get rid of a 5 cost and 4 cost, or you can get rid of a 6 cost and a 3 cost, and then combining it with Ice Age or Suru or One-Legged Toy Soldier, and you can get into some high cost characters being eliminated pretty quickly. What we notice is not in the deck is the 10 cost Doflamingo. I don't think that card is not a good choice in this deck. Just for this build in particular, I'm not running it. And then I do also think that the 9-cost Zoro has a place in this deck and Perona builds, but I just don't have it in this deck. But there will definitely be testing on it in the future. Alright, I've yapped enough. If you want to win this Don I'm showing on screen, it is custom, it is holographic, production isn't perfect, it's just a hobby of mine. These aren't professionally done. All you have to do to win it is just leave a like, leave a comment, and if this video gets, let's say, 18 likes in the first 24 hours, I'll give it to one lucky commenter. US based only. I'm shipping it to you completely free. I gotta stop yapping. I've been yapping for too long. Let's go into the gameplay. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. First up, we got a game against Red Purple Law. I get to choose turn order. I'm gonna go second so that I can play a Ryuma on turn 2 if I'm lucky enough to get some in my hand. I'm only getting my first hand. My opponent does nothing on their first turn and they're gonna pass it to me. Now I can double Otama search. I'm going to take that Ryuma, no doubt. And then I'm going to play another Otama. And I get another Ryuma. This is going to be absolutely huge in this matchup. As we know, Law likes to play a lot of smaller bodies. And with Perona's ability, I can just rest them and pop them. They're going to swing for 5 and I'm going to take that. I get another Otama. And they're going to play out a Zorojoro. Using leader ability, they bottom deck Otama and play out the Shachi Penguin. First, I'm going to rest the Zorojoro and swing into it. Now, that was a little risky, but now I'm going to play Otama because I'm looking for the You Can Be My Samurai, and so I'm going to go crazy with the card draw here. I get 2 more cards, and now I can play Momonosuke and draw again. Unfortunately, this is a whiff. But they're going to want to get rid of the Momonosuke probably, so it's kind of be like a pseudo blocker, or at least a target for their leader ability. 5 into Momonosuke like expected. I will let them have that. 3 Ryumas in my hand by turn 3 is absolutely crazy. That you could be my samurai was awesome. I also got the Borsalino, which I can use to play out or counter with and then bring back with Gecko. They're going to swing 5 with Shachi and Penguin, and I'm going to give them the Borsalino. They can bottom deck it relatively easily, and so I'm fine with using it as counter, and then maybe I bring it back with Gecko. And now they're going to play out the Kid and Killer. It might be a little early to play out the Kid and Killer, but they're going to do it and swing 5 at me. And I'm debating on whether or not to give them a 2K. I will, because I don't want my life to go down to 2, so that if they play another Kid and Killer, they will be at 7,000 when attacking. I've got 6 Don to work with. I'm going to go 7 at one of their characters, and I really hope this goes through. This would be a huge they'll be in a great position if they can counter out of this, even though it would have taken 2 cards out of their hand. But they can't, and then I'm going to play Ryuma, and I just got rid of 2 characters. Their hand size is looking pretty small. I've still got 2 more Ryumas. I'm feeling pretty good right now. I don't have a lot of counter in hand, but we'll just see how it goes. 5,000 with Shachi and Penguin. I kind of have to debate on this a little bit. What could they be cooking up playing next? I think I should 1K out of this, and so I get rid of the Momonosuke. 6 into life. I'll give them the 2K. No, I have no counter in hand. That's a little scary. And they're going to play the Gordon to bottom deck the Ryuma. Now I have options here. I'm going to be at 8 Don. I can double Ryuma and get rid of the Bon Clay and the Shachi and Penguin. Or I can Ryuma and Borsalino. Or I can just Gecko into Borsalino into something else. I'm going to start out with 5,000. It's a Shachi and Penguin, I think, because even though they can free block with Sanji, I'm hoping they don't, because they kind of want to be a little bit more... They want to wait a little bit to see what I could possibly play. I decided to just go with the Ryuma right away and get rid of the Shachi and Penguin. Now I'm going to rest the Bon Clay, and I'm going to swing 5,000 into it. Here, I'm expecting a free block, but they don't do it. I think that was probably a little bit of a misplay. Well, let me know in the comments. What do you think their thought process was? But I just throw down the Borsalino. They are probably going to get rid of it, as they do, with the Raise Max. Right on target. Then they're going to play the Reiju to draw 2 cards, which is huge for them. And then using leader ability, they're going to bottom deck the Borsalino, swing 5 at me. I get the 2K lucky enough, and they're going to swing another 6 at me with Sanji blocker, and I'm going to block out of that. Now, I have a tough decision here. I could go swing 6 with Ryuma, swing 6 with Perona, then play down Ryuma and Sabo. But I could also Gecko. The thing with Gecko is I don't really have anything too crazy in my trash because it all gets bottom decked. I could play the Borsalino active and then a Momonosuke rested, but I don't think that's amazing value at this point in the game. So I think I'm going to maybe test my luck and swing into that Sanji. Let's see if they have any counter to give me. I decide to go 7 with the Ryuma into the Sanji just because they need to have a 2K in their hand if they want to save it. They don't, which I'm stoked about. Now I'm going to use leader ability. I'm debating on who I want to use it on, but to me it seems like getting rid of that Zorojoro is more important than the Reiju. They give me the Zorojoro, and I end up just using Gecko into Momonosuke here. It's going to be really hard for them to get rid of that Gecko, and if they want to get rid of the Borsalino, so be it. But I've got a pretty wide board right now, and they're going to have to do something about it. Unfortunately, hypothetically, they could win here, depending on what my life cards are. They could go 7 with Reiju, 7 with Leader, use Leader ability, and maybe play out a Kid and Killer, and depending what my life is, that could be GG's. They're going to go 5,000 at me with Reiju, and I am going to counter out of that with the Sabo. I do not want to go much lower, because who knows what they're going to play with Leader effect. I've got to take that. They don't use Leader ability. So now I'm a little nervous right now, because I don't have any blockers to play. So I'm going to use the You Can Be My Samurai to just draw for blockers and counter. I'm looking for an Izo. I do not see one, so I get a Ryuma. I can swing into life, but that is only going to give them more resources and more chances to get a rush card, which is what I'm really nervous about. My hand is, in terms of an offensive perspective, it's great. In terms of a defensive perspective, it's terrible. So I'm going to do a little bit of a weird play and Hiyori into Ryuma, just so I can get that extra card draw, hoping for a 2K, and alas, I do not get one. I'm feeling pretty silly right now because I just got rid of the only counter in my hand. And so I just decided to play out their Ryuma so that next turn I'm going to have a ton of swings, maybe hope that they swing into characters. They swing 8,000 into me, so now I've got 2K in counter. If they have the Kid and Killer right now, it will be GG's. They don't. They have the Bon Clay. I draw more 2K counter, but no blockers still. Now I am kind of just going to go all in for life, I think. I've got to make a little bit of a play. If every attack right now hits, then I win. But if any of them don't hit, I'm feeling like I'm going to lose. I'm going to go 7. I think I'm going to do 7 again, which this is a little... Let me know what you think about my math here. Should I have just gone 6 with the first Ryuma? I don't think that would have been a terrible idea, but I wanted to guarantee the hit. So now I'm going 7 with my second Ryuma. They take it. Now I'm debating on what I should swing with next. I decided to go with the Gecko. Just 9,000. I'll be able to don up on my Ryuma and my Perona next. It's going to be the moment of truth. Do they have enough to get out of these last 3 swings? They've only got 1 rush card in the trash. I know that there's another Kid and Killer waiting to be played. They take this hit. Now I'm debating, do I want to go all in? I'm going to go 9 with Ryuma. And I think this might be a misplay because they counter out of this hit. No, that wasn't a misplay. Because I would have just went 10 and that would have been GG's unless they got some counter out of hand. Because I'm about to concede and I'm just like, I've got no blockers, I don't have much counter. But then I realize they're only going to be at 3 Don. So as long as they don't have a rusher, I'm going to be perfectly fine. So we're going to see if they can top deck a rusher. 1 card will determine this entire game. I'm passing it back to them. It is out of my hands now. Kid and Killer wins it for them. They go 8, I can get out of this. Maybe if they 3 cost Zoro. They do not. GG's. That one was a little scary at the end. I was definitely sweating. What a great ending to that game. Next up, we got a game against Vegapunk. Now, I've played against this leader once before. Honestly, I have no clue what the strategy is. I'm just gonna swing and swing and swing. I'm gonna go with Momonosuke turn 1, search for the Izo, just get a nice 2k counter. I've got 2 You Can Be My Samurais in hand, along with a 5-cost Sabo and an 8-cost Sabo. They're gonna go 6 into Momonosuke, play down the Shaka, and pass it back to me. I'm already looking 2 5-cost characters in the eye, and it is only my second turn. This is not a great feeling. This deck also runs a lot of triggers, so anytime there's not a trigger, I am feeling good. They're going to use leader ability and add Nico Robin to the top of their life. They're going to swing 8 at me, and I'm going to let it hit. And now 8 with Shaka, and I really don't want to get rid of more cards, so I just take the hit again. I've got 6 Don to work with. I can use leader ability to change the cost of the arrested character and use Ryuma. I could also swing into it, 6. I think I'm going to decide to go 7 into lead, and that leaves 4 for me to pop the arrested character. The Nico Robin trigger isn't crazy. I believe it's just like draw 2, trash 1, something along those lines. And they block and counter with the Shaka, and so I'm actually going to use the Ryuma on it because I'd rather get rid of that than because it has the blocker ability. Then the York. They are at 7 Don. They're going to use leader ability again, play out the 5-drop Monkey D. Luffy, use its ability immediately to get rid of my Ryuma, and now they're going 12 with York. I am down to 1 life. I've got a ton of cards in hand, but what the heck am I supposed to do? I do not know how to beat this deck, you know? I'm just going on instinct. I played on the blocker Sabo. This will give me some good protection. I'm going to try to fill up my trash a little bit. I could Gecko next turn. I could play the 8-cost Secret Rare Sabo, get rid of whatever they have on their board. Right now, this is a little bit of a risky play. I am going to play out the Suru, which is taking a 2k out of my hand to rest their York. And then I'm going to swing 7 into it. They gave me counter, but I do not. That was a risky play. They're going to go 14 at me. I'm debating on whether or not I want to get rid of my blocker Sabo. Do I want to go down to no life? And I decide I will. I get another Sabo. They're going to use leader ability and play out something. They're going to play out the Frankie. Just a 4-cost body right now. I've got 2 Sabos I can use. I decide I'm going to want to get rid of this Frankie, and I'm going to do that by lowering its cost and then playing out the 8-drop Secret Rare Sabo. Debating on whether or not I want to swing here. I decide that I will swing, I think, for just 1 Don, 6. If they want to take the trigger, they can go ahead. So they get to draw 2 cards. It's a really good trigger, but I do have to whittle away their life somehow. I trash Ice Age from my hand and get rid of both of their characters on board. And then I'm going to actually You Can Be My Samurai, my Tsuru, and 8-cost Sabo to draw more cards. One of the cards I drew was an Otama, so I'm really happy to have that 2k. I was curious as to maybe they're playing the 10-cost Ace, and that card would have been a pain to deal with right now. But they played the Yamato, they just popped the Tsuru, and now they're back up to 3 life. It is not the end of the world. I am actually going to Sabo up, I think. I don't really have any great Ryuma plays. I mean, Gecko plays. I have a Ryuma in there, but that's not going to help me right now. I'm going to swing 6 with the Sabo. They're going to use leader, the trigger, actually. And now Vegapunk will be 7,000. I did not double check that trigger before I swung. Lucky mistake. Or if I did, I didn't I didn't internalize it. I'm a fraud. I'm a failure. Please, dislike this video. Make it known that I'll never be great. I decide just to go. I'll play down one Sabo. I have to decide with what cards to trash, and there's no cards I really want to trash. I decide to go with the Gecko. And then, am I going to play another Gecko next turn? Do I want to go Ice Age? I think Hiyori wouldn't be a bad card to trash either. So I end up going with the Hiyori. There is definitely an argument to be made. Maybe next turn I'll even Ice Age and the Gecko and the Ryuma to pop the Yamato. I'm going to go another Sabo. So now I've got 4 Sabos on the board. I am not sure how often you see this on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe I'm the first. I have a board full of Sabos. I jest. I'm going to get rid of the Ryuma because I just really need counter right now. And then I'm also going to get rid of another Sabo. I think 5 Sabos on board would have been too much. Would have been overkill. And I think it just would have been not cool, man. They're going to play down the Lilith. Look at the top cards. And they're going to get a Shaka blocker. That won't be the end of the world to deal with. Not ideal, but it is what it is. They reveal and draw Edison with the 1-cost event. I think it's called, like, he is the smartest man in the world, something along those lines. They're going to swing 10 into my life. I can counter out of this, which I'm wondering if maybe I should do, because I actually might have them. I might actually have game next turn, so why not? I will counter out of this. They've got so many characters on board. I feel like it is kind of now or never. I'm going to be a little bit risky here and swing for 9, hoping they take it, looking for a trigger, and don't block with the Shaka, because I can Ice Age, then rest the Shaka, but they end up taking it. It is not the end of the world at all. I am still kind of set up for a decent turn. What I'm going to do is I'm going to swing 6 into Edison. They're going to counter out of that. That's not ideal. I'm actually going to swing with my Sabo. If they can counter out of this, that's going to be an issue. They are able to counter out of it, which is bad news. Do we think that they have another 2K in hand? If they do, I think it might be GG's over for me. But if they let it go, which they do, there is hope. And so now I'm going to Ice Age the Yamato and play out Gecko. I can Ryuma. I'm just kind of thinking about what else to play. I'm going to play out the Ryuma, get rid of a rested Sabo blocker, and then play out the Otama, looking for some counter. And I will take that Izo. Thank you very much. And now the Ryuma is going to get rid of the Yamato, and now I am feeling great. I've got a hand stacked with 2Ks, and they just have 1 swing this turn. I've got 5 bodies to swing with. They're going to play Please Save Me to the top of their life. It's got a trigger, but I am not afraid. Now they play the Shaka. I am not going to make the same mistake twice. I'm going to play out the Suru and then rest it using leader ability and go 6 into lead. Let's see what kind of trigger they get. If they have something that can pop the Sabo blocker, that would be unfortunate, or beige. And let's see, do they have a trigger here? They do, but it just lets them draw Jinbei. With this Gecko swing, it should be GG's. That was an interesting one. Flying Vegapunk is not fun. It could be worse, but I don't think it was my favorite leader to play against. But it was definitely, it wasn't fun, but it was fun, you know? It was a little bit silly. Next game up, we got Dofi, Blue Dofi, which is now kind of relevant again with the new Warlord support. They're going to play Perona, stack the top of their deck, and then I'm going to do the old Otama Momonosuke turn 1 play. They're going to go 7 at me and play out Jinbei with leader ability, and off of Jinbei play Edward Weevil. That is diabolical. How can I compete with that, ladies and gentlemen? Now they've got 2 big bodies on board. They're able to counter out of that first one. And now I can play the Ryuma to pop the Weevil, but they've still got a Jinbei I've got to deal with. So that is not fun. They're going to go 5 at me. I think I should give them a 1k. I don't want to go too low on life right now. Now they're going to go 6 at me. They're not going to use leader ability. I think you can make the argument I should take this, but I'm going to use an Izo 2k. They're probably going to play a Jinbei or a Gecko. They go with the Gecko and they draw the 2k Crocodile from trash. I've got 6 Don to work with. I decide I'm going to use You Can Be My Samurai, Rest Momonosuke, and Otama. And I get the 2k Izo and another You Can Be My Samurai. Debating on what numbers I want to swing here for. I'm going to go 5 into Jinbei. I think with the remainder of my Don, I'm going to play out Sabo, but maybe I should just swing big with this Ryuma. I really want to get some of their characters off board, and so far it has not gone well for me. They let the Jinbei go, which is huge. I did not think I was going to be able to get it off. And now I've got a choice to make. I'm going to get rid of You Can Be My Samurai and Hiyori. I don't want to get rid of the 2k. Now for 7 Don, they've got the Gravity Blade Raging Tiger. That is absolutely devastating on curve. They just got rid of my only 2 viable bodies and cleared my board, swung into me, and now I don't really have a great board presence. What I can do is I can play the 8-drop Sabo and get rid of both their characters on board. Using 8-drop Sabo just to get rid of a 4-drop and a 1-drop feels so bad though. But I don't really know what else I could have done. Maybe I swing into the Gecko, try to remove it that way. I play out the Otama looking for Ryuma, but I did what I had to do. Let's hope they don't have the Red Rock. First, they're going to play out the Don Quixote Doflamingo blocker, 3 cost from OP07. They're going to place cards on the top of their deck. We do not like to see that. And then they're going to go 5 at me with leader. This tells me they do have the Red Rock. They don't have the Red Rock. They go with the 6 cost Boa Hancock, which is still a brutal card. I'm going to go with the Otama Searcher first so I can get something. I get the Ryuma, which is great. I'll be able to rest the Doflamingo blocker and KO it with that. And then maybe with my remaining Don, I play down the Borsalino. I'm going to go 5 with Perona first, just to kind of, 1, bait the block, but 2, I realize I can actually get rid of this Boa Hancock, which I think might be the better play. And so I'm going to go Suru into Ryuma, and then the Borsalino as well. I think this absolutely worked great for me, and the tides have turned a little bit. Now I've got a full board, and I'm feeling pretty good. I'm going to block their leader swing. The fact that they didn't attach any Don to leader made me think that a 10-drop Kaido was coming. And so now they've got a full hand, and it's going to take a lot for me to get through it. I don't see any top end in my hand, which is really disappointing. A Stussy would be perfect right now. I'm just going to swing big at their characters and leader. 8,000 into 4,000, they should let that go. I'm debating on who to swing with next. The only thing I'm going to play out is a Borsalino this turn. I will go 9 into lead. They're going to take that. Now I can swing with Sabo as well. Another 9. They're going to take that as well. They've got a ton of cards in hand. I have a big board, but I'm not feeling great. They very well can get rid of my blockers at any time. I can block out of this Kaido swing on my Sabo. And there's a lot of things they can do to get rid of the Sabo or make it ineffective, like playing a 6-cost Boa. But I feel like I have to counter out of this. Let me know in the comments if you think otherwise, but I feel like if it stays on the board till next turn, it'll be absolutely huge for me. They're going to go 3-drop Doflamingo, set the cards to the top of their deck, and then go 6 into Ryuma. I could block out of this, but by swinging in Ryuma, I can use his ability and pop the Gecko that they played with leader ability. And now they play Jinbei into a blocker Dofi as well. One card in hand, I just have the Ryuma. I need to kind of clear their board or go for game or some combination of the two. I am not feeling great because even with 2 Borsalinos on board, they can get rid of those blockers really easily with a Gravity Blade Raging Tiger. I'm going to swing with Sabo first, and they're going to block with Doflamingo. I'm kind of hoping that they block here, because then I can use leader ability to rest Jinbei and kill it with Ryuma. And so that gets me as many characters off board as possible. But if I have to, I will rest the Jinbei with leader ability. I'm wondering here if I should swing, put 6 maybe on Otama and have her swing instead. And so instead of one big swing, I have 2 lower swings with leader and Otama. But I decide just to swing big, really hoping to get that Doflamingo blocker, which I do, which is great. Now I will rest Jinbei, play out Ryuma, and pass it back to them. With all those cards in hand, there's no way they don't have answers for what I am about to do, or what I have done. The card disadvantage I'm at right now is absolutely crazy. I don't know if I've ever been in a position like this before, where not only am I at 0, but they are at 10, I think. That is absolutely brutal. They Sanji into the Boa Hancock. They make it so my Sabo can't attack. Things are looking rough, ladies and gentlemen. Granted, they don't have a blocker out. We'll see what this life gets me. It's a Suru. That is not great. Here, I kind of feel like I have to go for game and just hope that they are bricked up. 9,000 into lead with Ryuma. It is absolutely not likely that they don't have the counter for this. But like, a boy's gotta try. A boy's gotta dream. They're gonna play the Gum Gum Rain. And then they're gonna give me the 2K as well. And I just concede right here. There's no point in wasting both of our time. I am going to go for the rematch though. Let's see if I can perform any better the second time around. I see 2 Ryumas in hand, 2 2Ks, and a Borsalino. That is a pretty solid starting hand. We do hope to see some top end though. I'm going to start with the Otama, and I am actually going to go with the... I'm debating between Izo and the Hiyori. I decided to go with the Izo just because of the 2K counter. But next turn I will likely play Ryuma, so maybe the Hiyori could have been the move as well. Let me know in the comments what you think about that play. 7,000 at lead, they're going to play out the Jinbei and then the Don Quixote Doflamingo blocker. Wow, is this a rough combo to deal with early on in a game. I'm going to go 5,000 into the Dofi blocker. They might let me have this. They'd have to give me a 2k. They do give me the 2k, which is not ideal. I have the Ryuma though, so at least I can get rid of the Jinbei, and if they want to swing at my life, they're going to have to invest Don on Doflamingo. They hit me with the pudding. It's okay. Reducing the Stussy, that can be good later in the game, but I was really looking forward to using that other Ryuma, so they are a little lame for that. I gotta rain on my parade. Here I am debating how I want to handle this. I could play down Momonosuke, you can be my samurai, I could play down Momonosuke, play down Sabo and not search with Momonosuke. I decided to go 5 at the Dofi blocker, and then swing 6 in the lead with Ryuma. I'm gonna play out the Sabo blocker, I draw 2. Nothing I really want to get rid of in my hand. I think you can be my samurai and Momonosuke are probably the right choices. I'm hesitant though because I do need some card draw right now. And I pass, I leave 1 Don up. So there was more to be done. They Gravity Blade, Raging Tiger, my Sabo and Ryuma away. Wow, that card is annoying, and there's nothing I can do to avoid it. And then they're going to swing 5 into lead. I'll give them the 2k. Now I've got the Gecko I can play with absolutely nothing of value, which is terrible. Or I could just swing big. Neither of which are ideal scenarios. I would like to develop something this turn. I decide I'm just going to play the Gecko and just get what I can from it. I'll play Momonosuke active and then Hiyori rested if they want to swing into it, whatever. I was pleasantly surprised when they took that hit from my leader though, so on the bright side, we did get a life from them that turn, unexpectedly. They're going to easily get rid of this Hiyori with the Perona swing, but you might as well bring it out. Seven into me. I'm not going to use over half of my hand getting rid of that, so I will just take the hit. Unfortunately, they're going to swing another 7 at me. Do I want to get rid of my Izo and Borsalino? I'll do what I have to do. For 4, they're probably playing a Jinbei, and then they have the Doflamingo blocker. Not the end of the world, though. I'll be able to rest one of those. And then for the rest of my Don, I have a couple options. I don't think I really have any great trash options for the Gecko. I do have Borsalino, but as we've seen, they can bottom deck that so easily. So I'm thinking maybe I Stussy. I can get rid of the Otama. But I decide that maybe I just want to do the Gecko after all. I'll swing into the Jinbei, they let it go, no block. And then I'm going to swing 9 into the pudding, just because I don't want to have to deal with another swing next turn. And I'm going to go bring back just the 4 cost, 5 cost, no, 4 cost, oh my god. 4 cost Borsalino blocker. And that's my turn. Not the most efficient Gecko play, but it is what it is. They're going to swing at my Momonosuke. I'm wondering if maybe I should just take a free block, but they're going to have plenty of swings this turn, so not worth turning Borsalino sideways. 6k at me. I think I'm going to counter out of this. They could swing big with their remaining 2 swings just by adding a ton of Don on them. I don't want to have to deal with that. Now they 9-cost Sanji into Jinbei, and then Jinbei into the 4-cost Gecko Moria. That is comical how great of a play that is. I'm going to rest the Jinbei, and I am going to try to get rid of it. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a block. They don't though, and so now it's time to swing into life. They block that. Now I'm going to go... I'm debating on exactly what I want to do. I'm going to go 6,000 with lead into their leader. They are going to counter out of that, but I'm going to play the Stussy and get rid of that Sanji. Now I'm feeling great about my position. I've got a ton of big bodies on the board. They've managed to survive. They are going to red rock the Stussy, which is unideal, but that only leaves them with 4 down to work with. So all is not lost. They're going to swing 6 into lead. I am not afraid. I will take that. Then they're going to play the Dofi blocker for the rest of their turn. And not even swing with the Gecko Moria. Maybe they just want to... I don't know. Well, I had the blocker to use, so it would have been pointless to swing with it. I'm debating on how I want to make this play, because hypothetically I could go for game. But if the Dofi blocker dies blocking, then I can rest the Gecko Moria instead. I decide, screw it, why not just go for game and swing big. So first I swing 7 with my leader and it hits. Now I'm going to go 9 with Gecko. This will hit. Now I have to make the choice of, do I want to add more Don to Gecko and swing big? But I decide not to. I'm just going to throw it all. I get lucky that they don't have the counter to get rid of that 9,000, and now I'm just going to put it all on Borsalino and swing big. And I got it. GG's. We lost the first one, but we came back in round 2. Fun match. Those are the games I got for you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed them. I definitely think Perona has a spot in the OP07 meta, especially if you practice with it a lot and really get to know your deck list. I can improve on my knowledge of the deck, so stay tuned for more practice with it. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. The Don giveaway just requires you to like and comment. I'm not quite convinced that the Wano build is better than the Don Quixote Pirate / Navy build, so maybe I'll be testing that as well in OP07. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is Wano Perona the way, or is she a fraud? Should I switch back to Navy Perona? Should I switch out of One Piece and play Pokemon TCG instead? Or should I just wrap it all up and close shop?